I knew something was off the second I saw her fake-ass smile. Not fake like polite. Fake like she was already halfway out the door and just hadn't told me yet. My name's Tyler. I'm 31. I live in Springfield, Missouri. I'd been with Megan for 3 years. Good in the beginning, yeah, weekend trips, late night talks, the whole deal. But lately, it felt like I was being interviewed for a job I didn't apply for. She started sliding in little comments about my life, my embarrassing old SUV, how I'd settled with my job at the garage. Stuff like, Brittany's husband just got promoted again, or Kelsey's boyfriend just bought a Tesla. Like I was supposed to feel ashamed I worked with my hands. She barely looked up from her phone anymore. I'd come home from work, grease on my arms, sore as hell, and she'd just be scrolling, texting, eyes glazed over. No, how was your day? Just silence or worse, attitude. Like I was annoying her just by walking through the door. So when she suddenly booked us a fancy-ass dinner downtown at some French place I couldn't even pronounce, said we needed to reconnect, I didn't buy it, but I showed up, wore a decent button-down, clean jeans, even got my Explorer washed. I pulled up to this bistro where the valet line looked like a damn car show. Beamers, Audis, even a freaking Maserati. My 2006 Ford stood out like a busted thumb. But whatever. I wasn't there to impress valet guys. When I walked in, she was already seated. Not in some quiet corner or cozy booth, nope. Center of the room. Bright lights, full view, right where everyone could see us. That wasn't accidental. Her smile when she waved me over? All teeth, no warmth. Just a performance. I sat down, noticed right away her phone was screen up on the table. Recording app open. My stomach sank. Then I saw them, her sister, and 2 of her friends from work. Sitting just 2 tables over, grinning and waving like this was some high school reunion. It wasn't. I nodded at them, gave a tight smile. No one else in the room seemed to notice how weird this was. But I did. I pulled out my chair, sat down across from her and said, "All right, let's hear it." She picked up her menu, acted like nothing was weird. "They do a really good duck confit here," she said, like I was supposed to know what the hell that even meant. I didn't respond, just opened mine and pretended to read it. I wasn't hungry. The whole setup felt staged, like a play she forgot to give me the script for. The waiter came and she ordered for both of us, some prefix thing with a wine pairing. I didn't argue, just nodded. I wanted to see where this was going. For a minute, things were civil. She talked about work, something about her boss finally noticing her. I threw in the usual "that's great" and "nice" at the right moments, but I was barely listening. Her eyes kept darting to her phone, to her sister's table. One of her friends was literally holding her phone up, camera facing us, trying to act like she was texting. Not even subtle. Then Megan leaned in a little and said, "I've been thinking a lot lately about goals. Long-term ambition. What we're building. Here it comes." I stayed quiet. She went on. "It's just, I admire people who want more, you know? Who push themselves. People who don't settle." Still didn't say anything. Just looked right at her. Her face twitched. A quick flash of nerves before the mask snapped back into place. "I mean, the garage is fine," she said, almost like she was trying to convince herself. "It's honest work. But I've realized I need someone who's more driven. Like, someone who wants something bigger." I looked down at her phone. Voice memo still rolling. My jaw clenched. She didn't even pause it. I tapped the table with one finger and said, "So go find that guy." She blinked. Didn't expect that. But she kept going. "I've loved you," she said, like she was performing for the back row. "But I'm not in love anymore. We've just grown apart. And I need to be honest with myself. And with you." There it was. Her big moment. Probably practiced it 10 times in the mirror with that fake-ass tear pause. But I didn't play along. I reached into my back pocket, pulled out my wallet, and dropped 2 20s on the table. "All right," I said. "Good luck to you." She stared at me like I just skipped the last scene of her drama. I stood up. Didn't say another word. Didn't look at her sister. Didn't acknowledge the friend still filming with the world's worst poker face. I walked straight out. The second the door shut behind me, I felt it. Quiet. Not just outside the bistro, but inside me too. No buzzing in my head. No boiling anger. Just nothing. Peaceful nothing. Halfway to my Explorer, I heard the door swing open behind me. "Tyler! Wait!" she yelled. I kept walking. Her heels clicked hard on the sidewalk. "You're really just gonna walk away? That's it." I didn't even turn around. "That's all you have to say to me?" Her voice cracked, finally losing the polished tone. I hit the unlock button on my key fob, climbed into my truck, and shut the door. She stood there, arms limp at her sides, makeup perfect but eyes wet, still trying to control the scene, still acting like she was the one being wronged. But it didn't matter. I turned the key, engine rumbled to life, and I drove off without looking in the rearview once. I pulled into the driveway, turned off the engine, and just sat there for a minute. My phone buzzed twice before I even got the door open. Didn't check it. Inside, I kicked off my boots, grabbed a Coke from the fridge, and flopped onto the couch. The Cardinals were down 3 runs in the 8th. Didn't care. I cracked the can, leaned back, and let the silence roll over me like warm water. No drama, no scripts, just me, the game, and the sound of her world falling apart without an audience. By midnight, I had 27 unread texts, missed calls, some voice messages. I didn't listen to a single one. Saturday morning, same thing. I spent the day in the garage, oil change for a neighbor, fixed a busted alternator for a guy from work. No pressure, no noise. Every time my phone lit up, I just swiped it away. Sunday she got creative, started using different numbers. I blocked everyone. Then came the no-caller ID tricks. I let them ring. By dinner, I had blocked 6 new numbers and laughed through a plate of leftover chili. Then Monday morning hit. I stepped outside, keys in hand, ready to head to the shop, and there she was, Megan, standing at the bottom of my porch steps. No makeup, hair tied back in a sloppy bun, wearing a hoodie and sneakers like she just rolled out of bed. She looked nothing like the woman from that bistro. No high heels, no camera crew, no rehearsed lines. Just desperation. "Tyler," she said, voice small. I didn't say a word. Just walked down the steps, locked the door behind me. "I messed up," she said. I made a mistake." I stopped beside her but didn't look at her. "No," I said. "You didn't make a mistake. You made a plan." She flinched. I faced her then. "You had a whole production set up. Scripts, audience, recording. You wanted views, likes, attention. That's not a mistake. That's calculated." She opened her mouth, but I held up my hand. "Don't." She started crying again. Quiet at first, then those sharp, shallow sobs she always used when she wanted sympathy. I wasn't biting. I thought if I showed people how stagnant it was, how I'd outgrown. "Outgrown me?" I cut in. "Is that what the video was for? To show everyone your glow-up moment?" She shook her head. "No, it wasn't like that. It was exactly like that." She looked down, arms wrapped around herself like she was cold. "I didn't think you'd just leave. You always stayed before, even when things were rough. Yeah, that was my mistake." She reached out to grab my arm, but I stepped back. "I meant it, Tyler. I still do. I got caught up. I didn't care. I saw it now for what it was. She didn't miss me. She missed control. You don't get to wreck something and then cry when it doesn't go the way you wanted." Her lips trembled. "So that's it." I walked past her to my truck, climbed in, door slammed shut with finality. As I backed out, she didn't move, just stood there in the driveway, arms limp, mouth open like she still had one more scene to shoot. I didn't give her one. I drove off and never looked in the mirror. I pulled into the shop parking lot, shut off the engine, and just sat there. Same old truck, same worn seat cushion. But something was different. It was quiet inside me. Not numb, not angry, just quiet. That week, I called up my old buddy Eric. We played ball together in high school before he blew out his knee. Now he worked front desk at a gym on the edge of town. "Yo," I said, "you still got that broke mechanic discount?" He laughed. For you? Always. Next day I was in there. It wasn't fancy. Smelled like rubber mats and bad deodorant. But it worked. I hit the weights, sweated through every set, cleared my head one rep at a time. No mirrors, no cameras, no one watching to judge. That Friday night, I drove out to the workshop. This gritty little dive with live music, sticky floors, and dirt-cheap pictures. I hadn't been in years. Not since long before Megan. I grabbed a booth near the back, ordered a beer, and leaned into the noise. Some guy was up there doing an acoustic cover of Pearl Jam, barely hitting the notes but owning the hell out of it. And that's when I noticed her, Rachel. She was sitting a few stools down from the bar, flannel shirt, jeans, hair tied back, not trying to be noticed, just enjoying the music with a soda and lime in her hand. No fake lashes, no stilettos, just normal. She caught me looking and gave a nod. Not a flirt, not an invite, just hey. An hour later, we ended up next to each other at the bar. You know this guy? I asked, motioning to the guy still butchering black. She laughed. Only through pain. That was it. We talked for 2 hours, guitars, 90s rock, dumb bar gigs, her job as a physical therapist, my busted shoulders from too many years under lifted hoods. No flirting, no pressure. When she left, she just said, "Maybe I'll see you next week." I didn't ask for her number. Didn't need to. That wasn't the point. Next Friday, I showed up early. So did she. We didn't sit together at first, but by the second set, she was beside me, sipping something red in a mason jar. No games, just hanging out. You ever play? She asked, eyeing the stage between sets. Used to, I said. Back in high school. Garage band stuff. You should again. I shrugged. Maybe. She smiled. You've got guitarist hands, calloused knuckles, and that permanent wrench grip. I laughed. Better than being told I've got potential if I ever grow up. She tilted her head. Someone actually said that to you? Long story. She raised her drink like a toast. To not needing their approval. I clinked my glass against hers. Cheers to that. The next morning, I hit the gym early, still thinking about Rachel's smile and that mason jar drink. Something about her made the air feel lighter. But by midweek, it all got heavier again. First, I saw Megan at the coffee shop down the street from the garage, place I hit every morning. She was standing in line, fake surprised. Oh hey, didn't know you came here. I didn't reply, just got my coffee and left. Next day, grocery store. I was in the cereal aisle when I heard her voice behind me. I forgot how much you love those cheap knockoff brands. I didn't turn around. Then Friday hit. Rachel and I were at the workshop, same spot, pictures flowing, music playing, and there she was again. Megan. Alone this time, leaning against the wall by the dartboard like she belonged there. Rachel caught it first. Is that her? I followed her gaze. Megan wasn't even trying to hide it. Yeah, I said. She's been popping up everywhere. Rachel didn't blink. Ex who can't move on? Exactly. She'll get over it, she said. Like it was nothing more than a bee buzzing at a picnic. I hoped she was right. Later that night, the host called for open mic. Rachel nudged me. Now's your chance. I haven't played in years, I said. She tilted her head. You afraid she's gonna be watching? I exhaled. Screw it. I grabbed the house acoustic and climbed up on that tiny stage. Dusty spotlight, duct-taped mic stand. I sat down and started strumming something simple. Interstate love song. Hands were shaky at first, but muscle memory kicked in. The second chorus rolled around and Rachel stood up, clapped along, smiling big. A few heads turned. Hers was the loudest voice in the room. Megan stayed back by the wall, arms crossed, face blank. No camera, just her eyes. Watching, calculating. After the set, I walked off stage, guitar sweating under my arm. Rachel handed me a drink. You killed it, she said. Felt good, I admitted. Rusty as hell, but good. She laughed. You're gonna have to do that again. We left not long after. Megan didn't try to follow. We grabbed burgers from this spot off Highway 60. Nothing fancy. Just a basket of fries, grease-stained paper, and a booth that smelled like bacon and beer. No makeup check-ins. No posing. Just food and real conversation. She asked me what I liked about working on cars. I said, "They don't lie. If something's broken, it tells you. You don't have to guess." She nodded slow like she felt that. We finished eating around midnight. Outside, the parking lot was quiet, sky clear. She didn't kiss me. I didn't try. We just stood there, saying nothing, both of us okay with the silence. Then she said, "Same time next week?" "Yeah," I said. "Wouldn't miss it." Next Friday, I showed up early again, guitar in hand. The workshop was packed, 2 birthdays, 1 bachelorette party, plus the usual regulars. Rachel had already claimed a booth. She waved me over, drink in hand, smile easy. "You ready?" she asked. "Ready as I'll ever be." I tuned up near the corner, nodding to the guy running sound. He gave me a thumbs up. Rachel blew me a joking kiss from the booth. I grinned and stepped up to the mic. The first song I played was Plush, Slowed It Down, acoustic style. Second was one I wrote years ago but never performed. It was raw, rough, didn't rhyme clean, but it was real. The room got quiet in a good way. People listened. Rachel swayed with the beat. I hit the last chord, nodded, and the whole place clapped. That's when the door slammed open. She walked in like it was a goddamn runway. Megan, done up head to toe, tight black dress, high heels, perfect makeup, hair curled like she was heading to a red carpet instead of a bar with peanut shells on the floor. I froze, hand still on the neck of the guitar. She didn't move toward the bar or a table. She waited. I played the next song. Just kept going. Tried to ignore her. Soon as I hit the final chord, she stepped forward and shouted, "You moved on this fast?" The bar went silent. Heads turned. Rachel sat still in the booth, face unreadable. I stepped back from the mic, guitar still strapped on. I didn't raise my voice. "You ended it, Megan. On purpose. In public. On camera." She marched up to the edge of the stage, voice rising. "I thought you'd fight for me. You gave up. You quit on us." I shook my head. "No. You wanted a show. You got your audience. I just gave you the clean exit you were begging for." A few people clapped. One guy let out a low whistle. She spun around. "You all think he's a saint? He's a coward. He doesn't chase anything. He just waits for people to hand him scraps." Bartender Rick came around the bar, wiping his hands on a towel. "All right, Megan, that's enough." "I'm not done," she snapped. He didn't flinch. "Yeah, you are. You can finish this act somewhere else." She looked at me one last time. "You could have been something, but you'll always settle." I unstrapped the guitar, leaned it against the stool. "And you'll always perform." Rick led her toward the door. She resisted for a second, then stormed out, heels clacking like gunshots on the tile. Door slammed behind her. The room buzzed again. Music started up from the jukebox. Conversations picked back up like nothing happened. Rachel walked up to the stage, handed me my beer. "You handled that well," she said. I took a long sip. "Could have been worse." She smirked. "I've seen worse." We sat back down in the booth. I could still feel the energy in my chest. Not rage, not shame, just a weight that had finally lifted. She leaned over and said, "You good?" "For the first time in a long time." I said, "Yeah," and I meant it. Monday morning, I was back under the hood of a '09 Silverado, elbow deep in old oil and busted seals, when my phone buzzed in my back pocket. I ignored it at first. 2 minutes later, it buzzed again. I wiped my hands on a rag and checked it. Missed call from Brandon, mutual buddy from way back. We weren't close anymore, but he knew both me and Megan. Then a text. "Hey man, can I call you? Something's going around." I stepped outside, leaned against the shop wall, and called him back. He picked up fast. "Yo, Tyler. Figured you should know. Megan's talking wild." "Wild how?" "She's telling people you were controlling, that you isolated her, wouldn't let her go out. Said you got angry every time she tried to leave." I didn't even blink. So now I'm the bad guy. I know it's bullshit, he said quick. But she's loud about it. Like real loud. Group chats blowing up. I shook my head, staring at the traffic rolling by. Let her talk. You sure, man? I can say something. Nah, I said. Let it play out. That night, I scrolled through Facebook out of curiosity. There were no names, but she'd made a vague post. Some crap about narcissistic relationships and healing from emotional control. It had 23 likes and a few of her work friends commenting, "Proud of you," and "Stay strong." A few people probably bought it, but most didn't. Midweek, I got a text from her sister, Alyssa. I tried to talk her out of it. She won't listen. She's spiraling. I replied, let her dig her own hole. Alyssa didn't argue. By Friday, I needed out of town. Rachel and I jumped in my truck and drove 30 minutes to a small bar out in Rogersville. No stage, no theme nights, just solid burgers and decent beer. We grabbed a booth in the back. Rachel ordered chili cheese fries and a whiskey sour. I got a burger and a long neck. She leaned back in the booth, looked me over and said, "You look tired." I took a sip. It's Megan. She's running her mouth now. Rachel didn't blink. Let her. She's telling people I kept her from living her life, that I manipulated her. She's projecting, Rachel said. You didn't do those things. I know. Doesn't mean she won't convince somebody. Anyone who knows you won't buy it. I stared down at my beer, nodded. I didn't fight back when she set me up at the restaurant. I just walked. But this feels dirtier. Rachel reached across the table and slid her fingers over mine. That's because it is. You humiliated her without raising your voice. She's still trying to get the power back. She wasn't wrong. We finished the meal, paid the tab, and took a slow walk through the gravel lot behind the bar. Crickets. Stars. A breeze that actually felt good for once. No cameras. No staged moments. No one watching. Just peace. I dropped Rachel off around 10 that night. She leaned in through the open window and said, "You don't have to carry her mess. Let her drown in it." "Working on it," I said. Next morning, I was halfway through my shift at the shop when my phone started blowing up again. Not from Megan this time, from people I hadn't heard from in months. Texts, screenshots, links. Turned out someone had posted the restaurant breakup video on a local forum. Not the clip Megan had wanted to upload. The raw, unedited version. Someone must have saved it before she yanked it down. No filters, no cuts, just her, the setup, the rehearsed lines, the fake crying. All of it. I clicked one of the links, watched maybe a minute. It was brutal. You could hear the voice memo app running on her phone. See her friends trying to get angles from their tables. It was obvious. Obvious in a way even strangers picked up on. The comments lit her up. This was a trap. How do you film yourself dumping someone like it's content? This guy handled it better than I would have. She needs help. There were hundreds of them. By lunch, someone had traced her username and started pulling other posts. Subtle jabs she'd made online for weeks leading up to that night. She painted me as the broke, boring boyfriend with no future. They found everything. Her reputation unraveled in real time. By the time I got home, one of her friends, Amanda, I think, had posted a public apology on Facebook. I didn't know the full story. I was wrong to support that. Another one just deactivated entirely. Later that night, I got a call from Alyssa again. I let it go to voicemail, but she texted right after. She hasn't left her apartment in 4 days. She's not okay. She's not eating. Not showering. I'm really worried. I stared at the message for a while. Thought about everything. The dinner. The phones. The way she'd tried to spin it all. Then I texted back. That's not on me. I didn't feel cold saying it. Just done. That week, Rachel and I fell into a rhythm. Late gym sessions, breakfast burritos in the truck, Friday nights at the workshop. I didn't bring up Megan again. Neither did she. We were just living. No tension. No landmines. No one filming from across the room. One night, I was fixing a shelf in my kitchen. Crooked thing that had bugged me for months. And Rachel was sitting on the counter, bare feet swinging. She said, "You always fix things when you're quiet. Better than running my mouth," I said. She smiled. "That's what I like about you. You let the truth speak for itself." I looked over at her, hammer still in my hand. "Is that enough? For me? Always." I went back to lining up the screws, steady as hell. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't waiting for something bad to drop. No pit in my stomach. No second guessing. Just real life. Starting finally. I had just sat down with a cold beer and the Sunday night game when the doorbell rang. I already knew who it was. Nobody else showed up unannounced at 9:30 on a Sunday. I muted the TV and stood there for a second, hand on the back of the couch. I could hear breathing, shallow, shaky, just outside the door. I opened it. Megan. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Hair a mess. Hoodie that hung off her like it didn't belong to her. Eyes red, skin dull. No mascara, no perfect smile, no camera tricks. Just a shell of the person she used to perform as. She didn't say anything right away. Just looked up at me like I was supposed to do the talking. I didn't. "I'm sorry," she said, voice hoarse. I waited. "I was stupid," she said, eyes shining. "All of it. I should have never done any of it." She looked past me into the house like she expected to be let in. I didn't move. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "I didn't think it would blow up like this. I don't know what I thought," she said. "I just wanted to prove something. And now, you proved it," I said. Her eyes darted up. "Tyler, please. I wish I could take it all back." I shook my head. "Doesn't matter anymore." She blinked. "How can you say that?" "Because it's true." She stepped closer. "I was angry. I was stupid. I was trying to hurt you, and I know that's messed up. But I've changed. I've been in therapy. I'm trying to fix things." "You didn't just try to hurt me," I said. "You tried to humiliate me. You made a whole event out of it." Tears welled up fast. "I didn't know what I was doing." "You knew exactly what you were doing. You just didn't think it would backfire." She reached out like she wanted to grab my hand. I stepped back. "I still love you," she whispered. "No," I said, my voice flat. "You loved control. Big difference." Her face twisted. "That's not fair." "It's the only fair thing I've said." She stood there, shoulders slumped, tears falling for real now. "Can we at least be friends?" "No. Tyler, please. I'm not your fallback. I'm not your cleanup crew. You set the fire, you sit in the smoke." She cried harder, chest heaving, but I didn't flinch. Not this time. She stayed there another 30 seconds, like maybe I'd change my mind if she waited long enough. I didn't. Eventually, she wiped her face with her sleeve, turned around, and walked off the porch. Her steps were slow, like she still didn't believe it was over. I watched her disappear down the driveway, no goodbye, no drama. Just gone. I shut the door behind me and walked back to the couch. Game was in overtime. I cracked the beer open again, leaned back, and let the quiet settle. My phone buzzed. "Rachel, still good for lunch tomorrow?" I smiled. "Yeah. See you at noon." Next day, Rachel and I grabbed lunch at this little taco shack near the park. Cheap food, perfect weather, no rush. She told me about a patient who claimed he got back pain from emotional stress and patio furniture. I nearly choked on a chip. That was 4 months ago. Now, I was lead tech on a new commercial fleet project out in Branson. More money, better schedule, weekends off. Rachel and I made it official without any big announcement. No posts, no labels, just us showing up every day. No games, no proving anything. Just real life with someone who didn't need a show. The ex disappeared. No texts, no fake run-ins. Nothing. It was like she'd been yanked off stage mid-scene. One Saturday, Rachel and I hit the street fair downtown. Food trucks, booths full of junk, some old guy singing CCR covers near the beer tent. We were walking past a kettle corn stand when I saw her. Megan. She was by herself, wearing this shapeless gray sweatshirt, sipping from a plastic cup, watching the crowd like she didn't know where to go. She looked faded, smaller somehow, like someone who used to walk in like she owned the room, but forgot how. Our eyes met. Just a second. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. I turned back toward Rachel, who was already pointing at a taco truck across the street. 3 for $10. You know I'm about to eat all of them. Let's go, I said, and we crossed without breaking stride. I didn't tell her Megan was there. Didn't matter. We grabbed tacos, sat on the curb, and listened to a band cover American Girl. Some kid danced with his dog in front of the stage. Rachel laughed, salsa on her chin. That was it. That was the real win. Not revenge. Not some dramatic moment. Indifference. No anger. No satisfaction. Just done. I finally moved on. She never did. That's not my problem. Never will be.